Hi, I'm Ryan Szymanski, curator for Battleship New Jersey Museum and Memorial, and today we're going to talk about one of the aspects of the concept of total war as it existed during World War II. In particular, we're going to talk about the use of alcohol during World War II. So, first off, this is the ship's magnetic compass repeater. It is a binnacle that's been manufactured by the Lionel Train Company. This is one of 1,000 examples around the ship of normal, everyday companies converting their peacetime products and factory assembly lines over to a wartime use during World War II. And the United States' success in World War II largely depended on how effectively the country converted to a total war footing, especially compared to our fascist enemies. So, we've talked about this sort of stuff generically in the past. Today we're going to do a deep dive into just the wartime use of alcohol because we've been sponsored by ZBiotics. ZBiotics makes a product for healthy and responsible adults who have plans both tonight and first thing tomorrow morning. So we're going to talk about that a little bit later in the video. First, let's talk about the use of alcohol during World War II. During World War I, Germany gave its troops probably the most alcohol of any of the major combatant nations. Germany, of course, has many indigenous alcohol industries, and beer is quite famous. And it tends to be localized, decentralized. It's not made in factories like you see in some other places. Every small town has their little brewery that produces a variation of beer and other alcohols. During World War II, the effective Allied bombing of German cities inadvertently targeted these industries alongside other German war industries and really impacted the German wartime production of alcohol. Interestingly, while the German army was still supplied with alcohol during the war, Hitler wasn't a huge fan and was a teetotaler himself, and the Nazi regime was not a fan of alcoholism, and if you were diagnosed with alcoholism, you could be subjected to institutionalization, forced sterilization, and even euthanasia to prevent you from passing those alcoholic genes on. Italy, much like Germany, had a booming and decentralized alcohol industry where it was distributed around the country and where it ended up being targeted by massive Allied bombing raids. Japan, the other major Axis nation, faced massive shortages during the war due to the Allied blockade. This impacted their ability to produce sake, a traditional rice wine. Japan had to ration its rice to the point that the average Japanese citizen was getting only about 80% of the pre-war calories that they were used to. And this meant that the rice was largely being used as a food product and not being fermented into alcohol. Interestingly, in order to continue to produce sake and make it go further, the Japanese added other alcohols to their sake. Even to this day, sake is divided between those alcohols that are pure sake and those alcohols that are sake mixed with other things. And that's all a result of wartime rationing. Today's video is brought to you by ZBiotics. ZBiotics Pre-Alcohol Probiotic is a genetically engineered probiotic you drink before drinking alcohol to avoid that rough next morning and get back to living your life. PhD scientists invented it because they know the real problem is not dehydration, it's a toxic byproduct of alcohol, and ZBiotics Pre-Alcohol Probiotic is the only product that breaks it down. Just remember to drink responsibly and get plenty of rest too. So how does this stuff work? Just drink one bottle of this before your first alcoholic drink. Drink responsibly, pace yourself, and get a good night's sleep. That way, you can enjoy your next day feeling refreshed and ready to make the most of it. ZBiotics is a probiotic drink that breaks down the byproduct of alcohol, which is most responsible for rough mornings after drinking. When you drink, a toxic byproduct of alcohol builds up in your unprepared gut. It's this byproduct, not dehydration, that causes you to feel terrible the day after drinking. ZBiotics produces an enzyme like the one your liver uses to break down this product. This is real science that works. No random plant extracts, no off-the-shelf ingredients. And if you're not satisfied, they have a 100% money-back guarantee. There's a link in the description below so you can get 15% off of your purchase at ZBiotics using the discount code Battleship. On the Allied side, France is well known for its wine production. Germany took over a significant amount of French wine during World War II, and Hitler even appointed wine Führers to secure the French beverages for sale to the German army. Interestingly, one of the ways that the French resistance was able to track German troop movements was by the purchasing of large quantities of wine, champagne, other beverages like that. So for example, Erwin Rommel's major North African offensives were able to be predicted by the Allies because the French resistance was able to get back to Allied intelligence with knowledge of increased German wine acquisition. Rationing also affected Great Britain. The use of alcohol in its military did not change much during the 20th century, and during World War II, the Navy continued to be supplied with about 1 ounce of rum every day. One of the smallest quantities of nations that was provided with rum. Compare that to the half a liter that the French soldier was issued at the beginning of the war. In the Soviet Union, Joseph Stalin reinstituted the issuing of vodka to Russian troops during the war. Tsar Nicholas II had removed vodka from rations in World War I, which may have reduced Russian income, the Russian government's income, by as much as 1/3, since they were not getting taxes from selling those products. Also, this disgruntled nature of the Russian people and turning to the black market may have been one of the factors in removing the Tsar. It's interesting to see Stalin reinstitute the vodka ration during World War II. This meant that some 28 million Russians in uniform were being issued vodka. The United States was just coming out of Prohibition at the beginning of World War II, and alcohol production hadn't been increased significantly. The United States almost immediately began rationing upon entry to the war. And this rationing included setting aside some 10% of alcohol manufacturing to go to the military. Interestingly, since the temperance movement had started, the American military was not issued alcohol. However, during World War II, rather than rotate American service members all the way back home or to another friendly nation for R&R, it was common to set up rest and relaxation points, particularly in the Pacific, on captured islands, places like Mogmog. And so American soldiers on liberty on Mogmog were issued 2 beers while they were there. Otherwise, the production of alcohols like whiskey was turned fully over to military use. Instead of producing whiskey, factories that had previously made this instead converted to industrial applications of grain alcohol, things like the fuel for torpedoes. Interestingly, it's those torpedoes that are then used to destroy Japanese merchant ships to blockade Japan that leads to their rationing of sake. We're going to talk about torpedo juice and torpedo alcohol in a future video. So if you're interested in seeing that, be sure to let us know in the comment section down below. Do you have a favorite story about the military use of alcohol? particularly during World War II? Let us know in the comments section down below. Maybe we'll cover it in future videos. Battleship New Jersey receives operating support from the New Jersey Department of State, also from a number of other businesses and private individuals. In particular, we're thankful to ZBiotics for sponsoring this video. Remember, there's a link in the description below so you can get 15% off of your purchase at ZBiotics using the discount code Battleship. You can also support the channel by liking, sharing, subscribing so more people find out about our museum. Thanks for watching.